Hello, everybody, and welcome back to
Hey,
Crypto Talks. It's TA Monday again. Fun, right? It's my favorite part of the week, the work week. And
so that's it. You just peak on a Monday afternoon, and then it's all downhill from here.
yeah.
All downhill.
Yeah, it's all like this is my highlight of the working week, Monday. Actually, I'm not even kidding here because on Mondays, you've rested during the weekend, right? Like, hear me out on this. People tend to
Yeah.
hate Mondays, right? But you've rested out the weekend. Monday, you're fresh and refreshed and all these things. You're not very tired, and then you go to work and you do your thing, and you get home and you're not exhausted. I think Wednesdays are the worst because it's like it's been 2 days of work, right? And then you still have 2 more days after Wednesday to work again. So you're not rested from the weekend, and you still have the same amount of work between you and the weekend on both sides.
That's fair.
Right?
Yeah, that's. I like to look at it as the kind of the mentality that you have 2 days in every day. So, right now I got up, I went to work, I came home, and now I'm on day 2. Day 2 is now started, and that lasts until I go to bed. So every weekday you have a whole spare day to do what you want. It's just Saturday and Sunday you get 2 days.
I mean, yeah, I like that actually.
Yeah,
it's not too bad. I think Arnold Schwarzenegger said something in a speech way back, and he said when people are like, "Oh, I don't have time to do all the things I want to do after work and all these things and I don't have time to work out and stuff like that." And he's like, well, he explained all the things, and I'm gonna shortcut this and go to the last part. And people said, "Oh, I need 8 hours of sleep," and he's like, "No, you don't." "Well, yes, I do."
Yeah.
"Well, no, you don't. Just sleep faster."
Sleep faster. That's the
Yeah,
one.
I love that.
Faster.
I love that. And everybody who knows me knows that I'm living on maybe 4 hours on average. And I'm fine. I feel fine. Anyway, excuse me. Anyway, we're here to do TA Monday, not talk about sleeping and Wednesdays. By the way, give me a W in chat for Wednesdays. Yeah. No, wait. No, not an M
Mondays.
in the chat for
M
Mondays.
for Mondays, yeah.
No. Wednesdays can go F off. Okay. Anyway, so in the past few weeks, I'm going to share my screen here right away. In the past few weeks, for those of you who have kept up with this, we did a whole bunch of TA just before this rally started, and since then we've been doing these updates every week. And so far, so good, I would say. It's kind of played out the way we thought. Although we've been very careful with saying, "Oh, this is gonna happen." Everything you hear from us is always going to be, "This could happen." And I can tell you right now, I know for sure that there's 3 things might happen. Either it goes down, it goes up, or it goes sideways. I promise you that. So either of those things can happen.
I can guarantee with absolute essential that is going to happen, one of those 3 things.
Yes, exactly. So that's what it is. But either way, so I think to reiterate what we did last week was that we kind of looked at this section here because we were just pushing through here. We had a breakout from this long-term trend line, and obviously things have been slowing down, and I think we mentioned that we think it might come up here, touch this fib level, which kind of correlates to this top right here, which is at 25.2, I believe it was 25.2. Yes.
Yeah.
For Bitcoin, and
give or take some. See,
Yes. So we said, okay, we think it might come up to here, or it might just slow down. It might consolidate to the side, and a correction, for example, doesn't necessarily have to be a correction downwards in price. Sometimes a correction is sideways. For me, when I say correction, I am kind of talking about resetting about a bunch of indicators and kind of letting people take some profits and people still accumulating and all these things. It's consolidating sideways it's one of my favorite things to do, but it's, to see on the chart, because for me that kind of speaks to some strength in the market. If it's going down, it's showing people taking profit, and it's showing that there's some weakness there. Oh wow, okay, right now it's dumping live right here. I just saw it. I'm gonna zoom in.
Let's have a zoom. Let's have a zoom.
Just dumped on this hour. Just happened now. Actually, let's see how crazy. Oh yeah, past 2 minutes. Woo. Yeah, that's that's kind of funny.
At
that happened just here.
At least it's doing something. It's nice to to see something happening after a relatively boring weekend.
Precisely, and I mean, everybody who knows, we don't like to zoom in too much to the 1 minute. This is the 1 minute, and this looks super scary on the 1 minute. But frankly, it doesn't really do much. Yeah, RSI is down at 6.85 on this one. We'll see how deep this one goes. This is fun, actually. I'm gonna do this now. I'm gonna zoom out slowly, and you can see where you start finding support on various indicators. I usually do this 5 minute. Well, nothing really here, right? We're obviously far outside the bands, right? Here's 15 minute, and we got 1 hour, far below, right? We go to 4 hourly, and whoop-de-doo, look at that. On 4 hourly, we found that it bounced on the bottom of the volume, at least for now. but this kind of goes to show that the indicators kind of work, actually. We just have to find on which scale they work.
Well, it's all with these drops and these very, very rapid drops. That it's essentially a hunt for liquidity, and because you find these periods when there is no liquidity, there's no significant buy orders or sell orders, so the price just shoots directly through them. And as you see, we've come down right to the point where a number of people have layered support, and as it happens here, it's been towards this at the bottom of the Bollinger Band. I assume zooming out a bit further, maybe there'll be other indicators. As the daily, is it around I know we're still below the center line, but
yeah.
And this kind of gives a clear view compared to how brutal the drop looks on the short term charts. Here oh no, we're back to where we were yesterday.
I mean, so far today it's down less than 5%. It's 4% actually here if you're looking at that.
But... and this it's not a great candle as it stands. A bearish engulfing day wouldn't be too good at the top of this rally, but as you say, we can correct sideways, and this essentially is still a sideways move. And
it's even an upwards move still. The trend is still slightly up, and I actually said this today to, I think it was Dave on the Discord, that it's actually still an uptrend, right? We're still looking upwards, but this is the correction that I was waiting to see, kind of if it caught up all the way up here. I was actually expecting something to happen a little bit earlier, because when it slows down like this, it's starting to slow down. Everything is starting to kind of reset. You see how the RSI here is resetting all the way from back here, starting to move down, and now we're inside the box basically for the RSI as well, and we're waiting for the MACD to cross here. And the MACD is really telling me here that it kind of wants to go into the red for a little bit like this, and kind of come back down to maybe retest this line that we were talking about, because it's healthy. It's a healthy correction to see that happening. It means the market it's still having that upside momentum, but it needs to come back down and kind of reset all the indicators, and then find more buyers at new prices, right? And from there it will just continue up, hopefully. Personally, I hope it goes down a lot because I still want to buy more. But yes, so I wanted to touch on something though. I wanted to just make a trend line here, because we have created a higher high from this, which is the first kind of, we don't have we have a higher low, obviously, but I don't really count these. I would like to see a bigger correction down, so we can really see something like this, where it actually creates a pattern of moves. I mean, obviously these are bull flags essentially. This one questionable, but I kind of want to see that come down and kind of retest this old this old line and then see the continuation up before I see any, before I can say, oh, it's made a higher low. Obviously there's higher lows all over the place here, but like a proper retest of something important.
Yeah. A higher high is only valid with a higher low.
Precisely.
To confirm it. So say this is a higher high, and this is the the beginning of an uptrend. But to really confirm an uptrend, we need to put in a low and then break the high that we've just made, and that is then a really confirmed uptrend.
Yeah. Granted, though, this did. I just want to put this here. This trend line has actually been basically bounced on twice already in the past few days, but it's not really one of those V-shaped tops.
Not yet, but it could still play out for this week, for 2-3 weeks even, of just sideways choppy grind, and then it will basically you can just test the supply and demand at this area. If it finds more buyers than sellers, well, then the sell side will pull its orders and whoosh, up we go. If we start to see more movements, big players starting to offload positions, seeing an opportunity to still sell a bear market rally, then absolutely we could go further down as soon as those buyers are exhausted.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just looking at this, we made some some support lines here. We got this one, which is pretty significant, I would say, because it's already the Bollinger Midline. Usually is a fairly good bouncing indicator. You can see it's not exactly on it, right? But around that area, there's usually some support on the daily charts and all the charts actually. But it's about to cross the old downtrending line, and if it does that, we have one defense before we get to that trend line again. And if we go to all the way over to the 7th or 8th of February, we're gonna have this resistance line or the support line here kind of crossing this as well, which means we have two lines before we get to the trend line again. But overall, like looking at this, everybody knows I like the fib levels, right? This is the fib level bottom here, and this is the top. And obviously we've seen this being a range before we had the FTX crash, right? So I'm, in my mind, my range currently is like from the fib line up to this fib line, and that's kind of the range where I'm kind of expecting things. And this is me, it's not financial advice or anything, this is just what I'm seeing, and I like my ranges. Right? So yeah, this range for me is interesting because we have a lot of support in this range down here, right? So yeah, that's what I'm seeing. I don't really want to say that I think it will go down or up or anything, but these are my lines. This is my range, and this is where I'm kind of looking to. Obviously, when it comes to this line, I will put a buy order here, personally. If it comes down here, I will put a buy order there as well at 20, and I will do the same at this bottom line. And that's me. It's me layering in, but I don't want to buy. I don't want to buy in the top of a range or anything. We're still in the top of the range here, and for me, it's all about trying to buy as close to a range bottom or a support line or something like that. And that's me. It can still go lower, for sure. But hey, it is what it is, right?
It's even we could see a relatively scary drop of 15 to 20% from the highs fairly quickly. And we start to see buyers step in, and everybody will sit doing the same. Oh, I'm waiting for 19, I'm waiting for 18, I'm waiting for 17, and it may not come, because if buyers step in and the sellers aren't there, then the price is not going to remain low. So this is now, and it's exactly the same as kind of exactly a year ago, where we'd had the top in, and the price starts to go down, and nobody knows that, is this just a pullback or is this a reversal? And here's the same. But from the bearish perspective, is this a reversal, or is it just a really, really good bull trap, hunt for liquidity, a nice bear market rally for people to exit positions, and then we come straight back down? And the answer is nobody can know. And as much as people do bash on technical analysis for saying could go up, could go down, could go sideways, Nobody can know. All we can do is assess probabilities and look at the picture and acknowledge when the picture changes, because the picture can change consistently.
Yeah, for sure. And just before I finish this off, what I want to say here is as well, the RSI tends to be one of those things that wants to come back down and kind of try to bounce on like a middle line somewhere around here and things like that. The MACD down here, I can actually open this up. Ooh, that's large, but it's crossing right now, and usually that results in the histogram kind of creating this red, and I'm personally kind of expecting that to happen, because it's an oscillator, right? It goes up and down, up and down, up and down, showing you, and usually that crossing is when things start to happen, which is maybe one of the reasons to why this is a big red candle. It's time for it to cross, and people are thinking, okay, top, and they're selling their positions, right? I mean, like I said before, consolidation is, or correction doesn't necessarily have to be down. It can be sideways. But in this instance, like if we were to use the, from this RSI top and this top on the MACD right here on the histogram, we had about 2 weeks of movement. It's upwards, but still slowing down momentum, right? Which is why the RSI is kind of resetting, and the MACD is resetting as well, without going actually down in price. So seeing this go down, these will come down faster, and maybe we will have 2 weeks of just kind of sideways, something like either like this or slightly down, and maybe that will take 2 weeks to get down to this price before we start some kind of bounce or something. That's supposed to be an arrow. I don't know how that happened.
But so just look at this, the length of these sideways period, these sideways of consolidation. That it's like you're talking 1 or 2 months, and so the same could absolutely happen here, where we put a 2-month base in range within, say, a 20-30% fairly narrow area where we are, and that would be a strong base of support to move forward and push higher. As it stands, it's fairly weak. It's fairly weak support, and there are multiple levels of resistance, and so it's still a strong area to be cautious in.
At least at this point, it's fun to actually look at TA and be able to find support lines rather than resistance lines. We've been looking at resistance lines since 2021 November, something like that. We've been looking at resistance, and it's fun to actually look at a bounce upwards for once for a while. I mean, we did have that for a while here, but it wasn't really a massive move and wasn't much sentiment behind it on the market. People were still bearish, but this one is actually the market overall seems to be kind of bullish on this move here, probably because it's such an exponential move up, right?
It drags in short-term euphoria. It drags in people get a dopamine hit out of seeing number go up, and it's the right now it's the meme of the guy celebrating biting his medal, and he's actually like 12th place in the queue, and it's like the dip, bought the dip, yay.
Precisely. I mean, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to create I'm going to do this. I'm going to say, here's what I'm hoping to see personally as a consolidation area. Maybe that's a bit too long though, but 53 days is about this length here, from here to here. But let's call it a month of just this. I would be super okay with that, creating some strength here, some volume around this price here, above this line. But then we have a lot of support down here again with this. If it needs to correct even harder after consolidating here for a while, it's one of those things where I'm hoping to see this type of in this box type of move, right? But we will see. We can just wait and see. And I would love to see Bitcoin down at 15K again, to be honest. I mean, but that's me.
Yes.
But yes. And Dave is saying bull trap. maybe.
I think that there's a lot of evidence for it. There's the fact that we're coming into resistance, and the fact that the global macro environment still does look like shit. So until things turn around, or there is any real suggestion that actually no, this is a really sustainable bull market and something's changed, then it's not. And as things stand, that a lot of things have broken out. A lot of things, the Nasdaq, the S&P, things are reversing all at once. But when they reverse all at once, well, how permanent and how sustainable is that move? Because everything can roll over all at once just as fast. And yeah, there's the strength of this move, the speed of this move, without any pullbacks. We've not built a base of support for a reversal yet, and that needs to be done. So it's an early sign of an uptrend. There's a lot of warning signs, and that's the reason why I say assess the probabilities. For me though, now this was the previous range, there were numerous suggestions that this was the bottom or a bottom. Before the FTX collapse, there were also a lot of sort of suggestions that there was a bottom forming in terms of on-chain accumulation and how Bitcoin was really being sucked away. But the FTX collapse saw a huge increase in that amount of accumulation, and now we've seen this big pump up. And yeah, we may have already seen the ultimate bottom. There's a decent chance that this just below 16k was the ultimate bottom, but we can still have a 30% pullback and retest that bottom. So if there was a lot of signs that the past 6 months was a bottoming pattern of sorts, and that's a reason why if you dollar cost average, if you buy your way into the lows, you can get yourself a good price, and very, very quickly upon these sudden spikes upwards, you can find yourself in a decent amount of profit and actually take some profit off the table. Now, does that mean go all in at a range you don't know is a confirmed bottom? No. Does it mean go all in on the first breakout that could be a bull trap? No. Does it mean wait for new lows? No. It means, what is the probability of this move being the cheapest you can ever buy Bitcoin for in the rest of your life? As it stands, it's pretty low. What was the probability a month and a half ago that 16k was the cheapest you could ever buy Bitcoin? Much higher. That was a much higher probability of being a bottom. And notice at the time, so many people calling for 10k, 12k, ourselves included, saying, if this breaks down, this is a real likelihood, this is a probability of where it's going. It's going 12 to 14. Would I be waiting for 12? No, I'd be buying 14. So you don't have to buy the bottom. You don't have to time the bottom if you can identify using, say, the sort of things we're talking about here, especially the long-term stuff, the long-term indicators, and going, this is a good place to allocate some of my allocation, some of my pot to this asset. It doesn't have to be all in, all out. And everybody looks at, the chart made 10,000% from bottom to top. So if I bought right here at this bottom point on this day and I sold right here at this top, I'd be a multi-millionaire. Well, guess what? That's not going to happen. You're not going to do it. If you scaled in for 6 months around that bottom and scaled out for 6 months around that top, and you made 2,000% or even 1,000%, well
200%.
done.
200.
Well,
people don't realize that.
I'd be disappointed for 200% out of a 10,000% move.
But you got to keep in mind, you got to keep in mind, 200% profits. Compare that to the S&P.
Oh yeah.
Right? People are like, I only gained 200% on this crypto. You realize 200% is a lot. If you get 30% on some kind of ETF fund or whatever, that's a lot. So I think we should be pretty happy making 200%. 2,000% is awesome, right? But trying to hunt for those perfect buys at the perfect bottom and the perfect sells at the perfect top it's
a fool's game. It's not reality. It is absolutely not reality. Other than luck, because you don't know who if there are more sellers or more buyers at any given time. You can't tell, and
Yeah.
the market can change very quickly. So
Yeah.
you may do it by luck. Just for as a my best trade I've ever made sort of in crypto, I sold $10 from the top my original stack in 2017. So like on the Bittrex chart, there's that you see that ultimate top. I sold $10 from that on that day, and then about 3 weeks later I put it all back in, and then I sold it again for about a 30% profit and thought, I'm a goddamn genius. And then I put it all back in on the way down, and then it went to 6K in February 2018. And guess what? Yeah, suddenly all that really clever trade in that absolute sold the top, bought the dip, sold the rally, but then I bought the bear market rally, or I bought the correction after the bear market rally, thinking, oh yeah, this is a reversal, and we're going to go up to 30 or 40,000. Nope.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
And I spent the next 2 years in a loss.
Yeah.
And it was 2020 until I sort of recouped that loss.
Yeah. It is. It's not easy to because no matter how much experience you have, it's hard to sell perfectly and it's hard to buy perfectly, which is why I keep saying to people, my personal way of doing this is I find a range and then I layer in towards like the bottom half of that range, and I just layer in, and that's what I do. And then if it keeps going lower, okay, at least I bought during a good range, close to a bottom of a good range, and that's like DCA on steroids or whatever you want to call that, right?
Yeah.
And that it works. For me, it works. You don't have to do that, but I like to do that, and at least I will avoid missing out on, if you put
good
10
prices.
grid, if you put 10 grid orders that are like, let's say one is $100, the next is $150, and 200, 250, 300, 350 for 10 all the way down. Maybe it's something like that. Then the further down it goes, the more you buy, and the lower the cost basis will be, and your average buy will be closer to that range bottom. It's just, that's the way I do it. But Rob, I know you wanted to talk about something as well, so I'm going to share your screen.
Just something on this sort of same basis of buying the low. I'm going to bring up Ethereum as a perfect example.
Yep.
So Ethereum in June 2019. So if you think Bitcoin in this same period ran from 3,000 up to 14,000, huge rally, nearly basically over 4x in price. Now Ethereum did a similar sort of multiple, ran from 300%. So actually it ran less than Bitcoin did. But if you look at this chart, and if I take it off, you can see the extent if I put it on the linear scale. But putting it back on the log scale, you had a period of 240 weeks. No, that's the 3 days. Sorry, not 240 weeks. 103 weeks. Sorry, to buy under $300. 2 years you had to buy under $300, and within that period, Ethereum from where it reached 300 had a 75% pullback, a 67% pullback, and a 70% pullback. Three 70% pullbacks. And can anybody at all say that buying Ethereum at $300 was a bad deal?
No. And I mean, imagine if you fixed up that range after the first bottom and the top there. If you then said, okay, this is the range I'm looking for, and you pulled that range and you started layering in and the lower 50% of that range, you would have been buying that wick right there, that big weekly wick with most of your funds, right? Which is very nice.
It's very nice. And if you look at this 2019-2020 period, essentially you had we can pull the Fibonacci up from there, and even if you just went and bought, okay, here's the daily top, I'm going to buy the golden pocket. Yeah, it dropped below it for a while.
Yep.
But you'd have bought $180 Ethereum.
Yep.
On long
Not
term,
bad.
Who cares? Yes, it dropped lower, so you carry on buying, and then you see this big rally up. Well, yeah, maybe this rally could have gone up to 400 or 500 if it was a similar rally to what we have today. This exact sort of pattern, this is where we are, and then the market turned around and crashed. So we could see something similar. But if Ethereum had gone up to 500 and pulled down to 200, just normal behavior in a bear market, and we're not that, we're not necessarily there yet, because there could be an awful lot of big moves up and then big moves down, and we could see all kinds of nonsense for the next 2 years. We don't know what we're going to see. So that was essentially what it was. Something just to point out at the time. What I was going to point out was so this is a weekly death cross, so the 50 week and the 200 week, and as you can see, we are just about coming to a death cross on the weekly, something we've never had before. Actually, I'll move to the BLX so we have the full history, and we came close in 2015, and as we saw then, arguably we're in that kind of a move today, a big rally out. Is it possible that we see something like this? Absolutely. But here, even so, it put in, this is a 6 month sideways period. So having a rally into this death cross is an area for concern, particularly when we are under both of those moving averages. And in terms of a chart pattern, this looks like a perfect place to have a stop and a reversal. And so that's something definitely to be aware of, that this, the 50 week, the 200 week, which was support throughout the previous bear market in 2015 and in 2018 and in 2020, served as support, and it's now been firmly tested as resistance, and we're underneath it.
I mean, I'll say this though, looking at this right now with the 200 week, which would be equivalent to the 730 day, right? Yeah, I believe. So looking at this, I mean, before this bear market, if you were using that to just buy when it dipped below, you would have bought the perfect bottom almost every time there was like a bear market bottom, right? And now we're under it, and we've rallied massively in the past few weeks upwards, and now we're still under it, and now people are scared to buy. And I'm like, I mean, I understand, like you don't want to buy a top, right? You don't want to buy a local top, but when we are firmly below the line that you just had, the red one, was the 200 week. That's like it used to be. And this is the 730, right?
This is the 2-year moving average, So the 730 day, 102 week. So as a when to buy signal, I mean, it's been pretty damn good in history, and that's on the basis that maybe in May you started to dollar cost average. Well, then guess what? You'd have made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 purchases at a price higher than today. Out since May. So we're talking 8 months. And so from then, all of your purchases all the way down, your cost basis would be so low, you would now be in a profit. Now, that's how to buy bear markets. Not to buy the rallies, and not to be too caught up. And it's that it can be very, very difficult to spot the tops. It's it's difficult for everyone, as it is to spot the bottoms. But it is, if you have faith in an asset, it's easy to see long term on a big picture basis when it's undervalued. And of course, not financial advice, and of course not taking any sort of idea on timeline. I think we can all agree, as Bitcoiners, as crypto enthusiasts, as people who understand the industry and understand what we're investing in, this is an undervalued price long term for Bitcoin. So is it
Go ahead.
Is it a time to throw all of your portfolio in? Not today, but if you did, and in 5 years' time, would you be unhappy? history says no. History said you'd be a very happy guy.
Yeah.
Could you be a happier guy? Probably.
Well, the question for me here is like, I think that one of the reasons to why we're so far below this line right now, and why there's a few reasons for me. It's first of all, we had a kind of a rounding top on the previous bull market top, right? And we had actually even a double top, which kind of slowed down the momentum or the average line. And now we've kind of moved into it, and there's a possible recession coming and all these things. Maybe now that the price is higher of Bitcoin, the market cap is so much higher, institutions are getting into this, maybe this line will not be, maybe we'll be under this more often or harder than before in the future. Who knows? But with all that said, we've run over time now. We're 6 minutes over time. Oh no. I hope nobody minds. I don't mind. But we did extend this one a little bit because we missed you all so much.
And we like talking about charts and lines on them. Yes. So yeah,
I think our Saturday show, the podcast, the long one, it was called Phil and Rob Talk Too Much again. For those of you who have seen it, we talked quite a lot. We talked a lot, but that's what we do. We talk a lot. But yes, so with that said, I feel like we can wrap it up pretty well here. I think I've said everything I wanted to say, and hopefully Rob, you have as well. But yeah, that's our view on the past week, and maybe that future week or this week we'll see what happens, and we'll see. But yes, so thanks everybody for coming, and thanks for subscribing and for liking the video, and joining the Discord. Make sure you do that. All of the links that we have are in the description below. Come see us in the Discord. We're gonna pop into the lounge in the Discord here after this probably and hang out for a while. So we'll see you there, and thanks. So
yep.
Cheerio.
Bye.